Thanks for joining me for another video. In this video, we're going to take a more in-depth look at the comparison between the IQ Tour Nano Pearl, the IQ Tour Solid, and the IQ Emerald. I compared them in my original review, but being that they could all fit together in one bag, and that bag could be legitimately diverse and viable on a lot of different conditions, I wanted to take a deeper look. The overall shape between them is pretty similar. You can see the familiar round and continuous motion between all three. There's no reaction characteristics that are pronounced or really stand out, and that's a big part of what makes them so good at what they do. They control the lane, and they're some of the best on the market at doing that. The Tour Nano Pearl is obviously the strongest, but it's also the smoothest. It still has a nice punch-down lane, so the difference is harder to see than it is to feel, and it will look sharper down lane on more appropriate conditions. Lower RG, stronger cover balls are going to have more shape down lane when they have an adequate amount of oil up front. More oil prevents them from getting significant traction or using energy up too early, so they have all that energy saved to use down lane. That's kind of a universal idea too. The more appropriate the lane conditions are for the ball, the better the ball reaction is going to be. If you hit your 8-iron 150 yards and the flag's 150 yards away, it's going to look pretty good. But if the flag's 100 yards away, you're not going to be happy with the result, and that's what we call operator error, not that club sucks. Balling down into the IQ Tour Solid, the TS is 3 to 4 boards weaker than the Nano Pearl, and with a more reactive cover, it has less traction in oil and more response to friction, but it's still a solid cover, and the centripetal C3 core is a pretty low differential in addition to being lower RG, so it wants to rev and roll early, but the lower differential keeps the flare and overall amount of torque lower to create a smoother and more controllable move on the back end. This is what gives the IQ series its trademark round, continuous, and consistent shape. The Tour Solid's been around for several years, and it's easy to see why. It's just a pocket magnet. It's really hard to miss with the TS, and if you do, you just need to put more reps in. It'll recover from misses outside without bouncing, and will hold on misses in due to the smoother reaction. Now, sometimes you need more shape on easier conditions, though, and that's where we enter the Emerald. The Emerald and Tour Solid are companions more than just complements, and the Emerald isn't necessarily a ball down from the Tour Solid depending on what you're talking about. Less overall traction, but a quicker friction response going from R2S Solid to R2S Pearl, so depending on how much friction is available, the Emerald can either hook, air quotes, more or less than the Tour Solid. Generally, I'd say you go Emerald when you need more shape and TS when you need more traction, but still want an IQ type shape overall. More or less board coverage is pretty muddy between these two and really depends on the conditions and situation. These two can play on top of each other. The Emerald can play inside of the TS when there's more friction or outside of it when there's more oil. So try to avoid getting too locked into the ball up or ball down idea. That's just a general concept to get you going in the right direction, but shapes and zones are more specifically the focus. The IQ series balls are designed to be in play and keep you in the pocket for a wide range of bowlers on typical conditions of all difficulties. You're rarely going to see short and dry or long and heavy. Most conditions are going to be around 40 feet and 25 units, and the IQ series can reach up heavier and longer than that and also help control shorter and drier stuff than that. I try to refrain from telling anyone they need a certain ball, air quotes again, but these are staples in the lineup, and the IQ series has been around this long for a reason. All three of these are available now. Thanks for watching, and may the strikes be with you.